Thank you for stopping by the channel. Please subscribe. Let's talk Terrence Crawford. In the world of boxing, hypothetical matchups between elite fighters often spark intense debate among fans and pundits. One such fantasy bout that has gained traction over the past few years is between Terrence "Bud" Crawford and Saul Canelo Alvarez. Both men are generational talents, multi-division champions, and future Hall of Famers. However, if they were to meet in the ring under realistic conditions, there's a compelling argument to be made that Terrence Crawford would emerge victorious. Here's an in-depth breakdown of why Crawford could beat Canelo Alvarez. 1. Superior boxing IQ and adaptability. Terrence Crawford is widely regarded as one of the most intelligent fighters in boxing. What sets him apart is his ability to make mid-fight adjustments. He's a cerebral tactician who studies his opponents in real time, dissecting their rhythm and strategy before taking control of the fight. Against elite opposition like Errol Spence Jr., Shawn Porter, and Kell Brook, Crawford demonstrated his uncanny ability to shift gears and exploit weaknesses. While Canelo is also a high IQ fighter, his style is more methodical and grounded in pressure and timing. He tends to struggle against slick, mobile boxers who don't stand in front of him. Floyd Mayweather provided the blueprint in 2013, and fighters like Dimitri Bivol echoed that with lateral movement and combinations. Crawford's ring IQ allows him to switch stances fluidly, read punches early, and counter with precision. His ability to adapt quickly could nullify Canelo's more calculated approach. 2. Speed and fluidity. Crawford's hand speed, footwork, and reflexes give him a significant edge in terms of pure athleticism. At his peak, Canelo has shown fast hands, especially when throwing counters and body shots, but he is not as nimble or elusive as Crawford. Crawford's footwork allows him to create angles, get in and out of range, and avoid heavy exchanges. Canelo, on the other hand, relies more on upper body movement and head slips while standing in the pocket. If Crawford chooses to box on the outside and use his legs, he could make Canelo follow him around the ring, sapping Canelo's energy and minimizing the Mexican's vaunted power. 3. Defensive versatility. Though not as famously defensive as Mayweather or Pernell Whitaker, Crawford is extremely hard to hit clean. He uses range, positioning, and timing to avoid damage. He's comfortable fighting from both orthodox and southpaw stances, which throws opponents off and forces them to hesitate. Canelo, while a brilliant counterpuncher with improved head movement, can struggle to consistently land on elusive opponents. His performance against Bivol highlighted this, as he struggled to cut off the ring and landed at a low percentage. Crawford's defensive prowess would present similar challenges, potentially limiting Canelo's output and frustrating him. 4. Punch variety and timing. Crawford doesn't just throw punches, he places them with clinical accuracy. He mixes up his shots to the head and body, shifts angles mid-combination, and sets traps that invite mistakes. His KO win over Errol Spence Jr. was a masterclass in timing, patience, and finishing ability. Canelo has a great arsenal, especially his hooks to the body and uppercuts, but he often throws in combinations of 2 or 3 punches. Crawford, meanwhile, is more creative and unpredictable. That unpredictability could make it difficult for Canelo to find a rhythm or anticipate what's coming next. 5. Mental toughness and killer instinct. Both fighters are mentally tough, but Crawford's mentality is built on a mean streak rarely seen in boxing today. He doesn't just want to win, he wants to dominate and stop his opponents. Once he smells blood, Crawford becomes a vicious finisher. Canelo has shown resilience in fights, but when things aren't going his way, as seen against Bivol, he can become passive and overly reliant on landing one big shot. Crawford, by contrast, thrives under pressure and escalates the fight when needed. His focus, discipline, and ruthlessness could give him the edge in the championship rounds. 6. Weight class realities and skill over size. The biggest argument against this hypothetical matchup is the size difference. Canelo has fought as high as 175 pounds, while Crawford began his career at lightweight 135 pounds. However, the idea that size alone determines the outcome is overly simplistic. In fact, Crawford has grown into a strong welterweight and proved he could move up to 154 pounds. Fighting Canelo at 160 or even a catchweight around 158 to 160 could be feasible. More importantly, boxing history is filled with examples of smaller, more skilled fighters defeating bigger opponents, e.g. Mayweather versus Canelo, Pacquiao versus De La Hoya, Roy Jones Jr. versus John Ruiz. If Crawford and Canelo met at a weight that didn't compromise Crawford's speed and stamina, the technical gap could outweigh the physical one. 7. Recent momentum and skill preservation. Canelo, despite still being elite, has shown signs of slowing down. His recent performances against Jermell Charlo and John Ryder, while dominant, lacked the explosive sharpness of his earlier years. Against Bivol, he looked increasingly one-dimensional when his power didn't have the same effect. Crawford, meanwhile, is arguably at his peak. His destruction of Errol Spence Jr. was not only historic, but showcased that he has preserved his physical gifts while sharpening his ring craft. The momentum is on his side. Conclusion. While both Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez are legends in their own right, the stylistic matchup favors Crawford in several key areas: speed, adaptability, ring IQ, and technical versatility. If they were to fight under fair weight conditions, Crawford's dynamic skill set and tactical brilliance could very well be the difference. Though fans may never see this dream fight, the debate remains alive. And if we consider the cold facts of skill, form, and adaptability, it's not unreasonable to believe that Terrence Crawford would beat Canelo Alvarez.